Okay, number 2 says we have this nice E equation, right, with E's and X's and Y's, and we're given some X and Y values and want to find dy dx. We're going to differentiate this, right, implicitly, right, so not with respect to time, but implicit differentiation. Okay, implicitly. So we have our E right here. That's going to become e to the xy, because that's how you do every E. The derivative of E is itself times the derivative of the numerator. Okay, so this is going to be, well, not numerator, but the power. Okay, so this is going to be a power rule type of a derivative for this. We're going to have f prime times g plus f times g prime. Okay, that's going to be our derivative rule, our product rule that we can derive our power with. Okay, so f prime, the derivative of x is just 1, so this is a y plus x times the derivative of y with respect to x is your dy dx. Okay, so that is the derivative of our power for our exponential, minus 2y times dy dx equals, over here there are no variables, so that equals 0. Okay, so we want to find dy dx, so let's do a little bit of distributing here real quick. Let's multiply these into both here. So I have e to the xy times y plus x times e to the xy times dy dx minus 2y dy dx equals 0. Okay, now let's get to substituting. Our x is 1/2 and our y is 2. And I get that crazy looking thing. So let's try and simplify this a little bit, shall we? I think it's a good idea. Okay, so this, right, e to the 1/2 times 2, that's just 1. So our first value is 2e plus, okay, once again, this is what, 1/2 of e. So e over 2 dy dx minus 4 dy dx equals 0. Okay, so if I want to solve for dy dx, I'm going to move my 2e over to this side and then factor out my 2 coefficients of dy dx. Negative 2e. Okay, so looking at all of my answers, I have something pretty fancy over there. So I'm going to change this, right, to be an 8 over 2, so that I have one denominator here, e minus 8 over 2. Okay, so that is my, I'm simplifying my fraction, right? So I have one fraction, not a fraction minus a number. Because in a second here, I'm going to divide by my fraction, aka multiply by my reciprocal. So dy dx equals negative 2e times the reciprocal of this, which is 2 over e minus 8, right? So we're getting rid of that. So we're multiplying by its reciprocal. And then let's see what we have. We have negative 4e over e minus 8. Okay, that's the answer that I got by doing all this algebra. So let's see, is that an option? 8 minus 4e? 4e over 8 minus e? So 4e over 8 minus e looks similar to this, right? 4e over 8 minus e. The only difference is now the negative has been moved to the bottom. So these two are mathematically equivalent. So this is going to be our right answer.